Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2013. As part of awareness and campaigns, India G20 presidency in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. We request those who have not registered for today's international webinar series are kindly requested to register every day on a daily basis. All the certificates will be issued at once. So the registration link has been shared in chat box. Today, we have few commemorations at national level. Let's look at each of these days. Today is commemorated as Children's Day. That is World's Children's Day. The Soren's Foundation and other organizations join together to spread about this disease and help people better understand the symptoms and how to treat it. Soren's syndrome is an immune system disorder whose two primary symptoms include dry eyes and mouth, as it attacks the cells that produce saliva and tears, as well as other parts of the body, such as thyroid, kidneys, liver, lungs, nerves, and other symptoms include joint pain, skin rashes, vaginal dryness, continuous dry cough, swollen salivary glands, poor dental health, excessive thirst, and prolonged fatigue of many kids. Of many kinds. So, the person first credited with describing Soren's syndrome was Jan Michaelis Radicki. In 1882, he described a 42-year-old man with enlargement of parotid and lacrimal glands associated with a round cell infiltrate and echinaretrophy. But these criteria often led to the disease being mistaken for Michaelis syndrome. Nevertheless, this term is used sometimes to describe the appearance of lymphocytic infiltrates on salivary gland biopsies. So Henrik Schoren was born on July 23, 1989, 1999 in Köping, Sweden, and graduated from the Karolinska Institute of Medicine in 1927. In 1929, Dr. Choren met a patient who complained about dry eyes and even dry mouth and a joint pain. While many of these symptoms were already well known in the combination of them that seemed odd to him, and he then decided to investigate in 1933. He pushed his doctoral thesis describing 19 females, most of them which were postmenopausal and had arthritis, showing clinical and pathological manifestations of the syndrome. So his thesis was not well received at first, as the board of examiners criticized some clinical aspects. After extensive research and data collection, Soren published an essential paper in 1951 describing 80 patients with dry eyes, 50 of whom had arthritis. So he called the disease keratoconjunctivitis sicca, and it began to call Choren syndrome in literature. Nowadays, keratoconjunctivitis sicca is used as a scientific term for dry eyes. The Choren Foundation was created by Ellen Harris in 1983, and she was a patient diagnosed with Choren syndrome who was frustrated by how long it took to identify her symptoms and lack of information. Choren's is a serious disease, but if treated on time, complications are less likely to develop and tissue damage is less likely to occur. Life expectancy in primary Choren syndrome is comparable to that of general population, but it can take up to 7 years to correctly diagnose and can affect a person's quality of life. A patient with Choren syndrome may feel that various parts of their body, such as muscles, are archy and tender, or their joints are painful, swollen due to inflammation. Some famous people that suffer from Choren's syndrome include Venus Williams and Olympic gold medalist Shannon Box. 10 times as many women as men are diagnosed with Choren's, and it predominantly affects women. While most often diagnosed in women during middle age or after menopause, it can affect people of any age, including children. Through younger Choren syndrome, patients often present differently from adults. Choren syndrome patients without accompanying major autoimmune connective tissue disease number between 4 lakhs and 3.1 million adults, and when including those who also have another related disease, the prevalence is doubled. The symptoms can be relieved with non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, corticosteroids, hydrochloroquine, and other drugs that calm the immune system, and treatment for dryness. Many people had never heard of Choren syndrome. It is important that they check for possible symptoms since it's particularly hard to diagnose. Besides the usual encouragement from healthcare professionals to researchers and students, the Choren's Foundation can help to donations to them help to fund research. This is another way to raise people awareness of illness. If you or someone you know have been diagnosed with Soren syndrome, share your story on online and offline. Today is also commemorated as International Yada Day, which you can say so on and so forth or blah blah blah. Actually, yada yada is repeated, 3 times the word yada, as popularized by the episode of the popular American sitcom Seinfeld. So the yada yada was the 19th episode of the 8th season, and the 153rd episode, the creator was Michael W. Casby. It's part of the inspiration for the festivity. Seinfeld was a revolutionary show at that time, as sitcoms in style starring a group of friends instead of a family were unheard of, and it remains popular to this day because of its unique focus on mundanity and characters that don't grow or improve, sticking to a no hugging, no learning rule. So the personality type of Jerry Seinfeld is likely an INTP since he is a comedian. He always observing the people and situations around him and always has an intelligent joke upon his sleeve. And Seinfeld curse is a popular phrase used to describe the perceived lack of success the actors suffered after the end of the series. Julia Louis Dreyfus, who played Elaine, actually managed to break the curse by starring in the New Adventures of Old Christine, though it got cancelled after its 5th season. And later in V, the most popular character was undoubtedly George Costanza, a neurotic man with many insecurities that actively avoids getting a job when unemployed and avoids working when employed. Actually, this is a good series for counselors, psychologists, mental health professionals. And, you can watch at least once. And you can also watch your favorites, maybe the restaurant or any episode. If you are big on Seinfeld, you can probably see or probably have seen at least one episode of this, and it's very self-explanatory. Like you can watch comedians in cars getting coffee spoon. Jerry Seinfeld drives around in a fancy car he borrowed and visits a different coffee shop with a guest he chats with. However, in a 6-minute parody in which he and Jason Alexander play their Seinfeld characters as a little surprise at the end. George's storyline in the episode is something that has happened to co-creator Larry David, who quit his job as a writer for Saturday Night Live, making a big spectacle of it. Felt he had made a mistake and went back to the next day pretending it was a joke. Unlike George, this actually worked out for the David, and the revenge is based on the real events. The character wasn't on the pilot episode, and Clary, the waitress from the pilot played by Lee Garlington, was meant to be the show's female lead. Kramer was originally called Kessler. This is what he called in the pilot episode because David thought his neighbor, Kennedy Kramer, would sue as he based the character on him. In the most famous episode, the characters face a chef that denies soup to the customers that don't follow his strict rules, who is based on a real person. The soup Nazi was a real person. So today is also commemorated as National Gorgeous Grandma Day. Maybe you can call her Nana, Nani, or Granny, or grandmother. Or maybe you can call her when you are in trouble because you know she will be there for you at the drop of a hat. Whatever the case may be, today is her day. So it's not just Grandma Day. This July 23rd, we celebrate National Gorgeous Grandma Day. So the day to tell, oh, Granny, just how stunning she looks. Really is. She looks fly for an 80-year-old or whatsoever her age is. And you have to admit, you bet all these grandpas are dying to get with her. So, as the name suggests, our dearest, cuddliest grandmothers are celebrated. Grandmothers endlessly love and treasure their families and typically have an infectious love for life. They have experienced a lot and have the best words of wisdom for us. With all the aches and pains of old age, most grandmothers have positive attitudes and amazing energy, which radiates into our lives. The day aims to celebrate women over the age of 50 and encourages them to defy society standards and live it up a bit. We love our grandmothers, but most of the time we see them in a stereotypical, old-fashioned way. The grandmothers are expected to be calm, collected, have an outdated style, and spend days barking and knitting. Society's narrow perception that women should dress up, wear bright colors, and go on dates after the age 50 is primitive. So this day intends to dispel the mindset and encourage people not to frown upon ladies over the age of 50 who are not ready to retire to a quiet life yet. Some of the most prominent people in the world, like Jack Nicholson, Barack Obama, were raised by their grandparents, and the average age of a grandparent in the US is around 48. The world's youngest grandmother is Rika Stencu, a 23-year-old from Romania. Due to biological process of haplodiploidy, male bees can only be grandfathers and grandsons, but not sons or fathers. So there, out of 4 grandparents, love being one and thinks it's the single most important and satisfying in their life. Today is also commemorated as National Parents Day in US. They do so much for us every day of our young lives, and love doesn't stop once we are adults. And that's why it's good to honor them on this special day. So while Mothers and Fathers Day were first officially celebrated in early 1900s, National Grandpa is already approaching its 40th anniversary and 40 plus years. And National Parents Day wasn't established until 1994. So that's when President Bill Clinton signed a congressional resolution recognizing, uplifting, and supporting the role of parents in upbringing their children. The 1 in a million bond with our parents is celebrated on this day every year, 4th Sunday of July. Parents are the greatest gifts of nature we have. There is nothing that comes close to taking their place in our lives. The role of parents is integral and development of the child's life. So the aim of National Parents Day is to promote responsible parenting and encourage supportive, positive reinforcement by parents for the children. It goes the other way, as the day celebrates the sacrifice of parents and the unparalleled bond of love between the parents and their children. So President Bill Clinton established the holiday in 1994 by signing the congressional resolution that appeared National Parents' Day by law. Republican Senator Janet Lott introduced the law with the aim of uplifting and supporting the role of parents in rearing of children. It makes sense. So today is also commemorated as National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. A lot of ice creams this month, ice creams days. Each flavor has got its own day. Marks a special occasion for the simple yet all favorite time dessert. Vanilla is traditionally made by combining cream, sugar, and of course vanilla. In fact, vanilla is added to other ice cream flavors as it helps to enhance their traits. Vanilla ice cream has wide fan base as it is single most popular ice cream flavor around the world. The cold dessert subtle flavors allows you to enjoy it in a variety of ways. You can have it pressed between two biscuits, or you can enjoy it with pancakes, brownies, or cake. For the food adventures, you can even try putting it between a plain chicken bag and burger. Vanilla ice cream was so adored that Thomas Jefferson, who is often credited with ice cream's popularity in America, had it served to almost every guest at a White House. So vanilla belongs to the orchid group of family that has over 25,000 species, being a native plant of Central America and the Caribbean. Vanilla was used as a Totonacs living in Mexico. Later on, the Totonacs were conquered by the Aztecs. They later got their hands on vanilla. The Aztecs started using it by mixing into their chocolate, and globalization spread. More and more people from different places starting being exposed to vanilla. The Spanish took vanilla to their home country, and from there it spread to the rest of the Europe and the world. People in Britain and Spain use vanilla in much as same way as Aztecs. Vanilla in drinks like chocolate, tea, and coffee became popular. It wasn't until vanilla reached France that it was added to the ice cream. As far as America history is concerned, the credit for making vanilla ice cream a national treat goes to Thomas Jefferson, who was known as a fascination with collecting different types of recipes. It is believed that on a visit to France during 1780s, he came across vanilla ice cream, which was popular dessert among the French. On his return to America, he made vanilla ice cream popular among his people as well. The vanilla ice cream recipe is no less than a national treasure for Americans as it lies protected in the US Library of Congress in Washington. So Americans became fans of the mint-flavored and creamy ice cream. However, the main challenge was that producing vanilla involved an expensive process, which had made it hard to come for many Americans. By 1841, a new technique has been discovered through which vanilla plants could be pollinated by hand, paving the way for commercial production of vanilla in different parts of the world. Today, the world enjoys perhaps heaps of vanilla ice cream, all thanks to the invention of ice cream machine that made it easier to make it. Nancy Johnson made the first world's ice cream maker that had a crank located outside. The crank addition and the placement allowed for it to mix and scrape the ice cream at the same time, but before the machine became commonplace, making ice cream required much more time. Vanilla ice cream became one of the most solid flavors due to its popularity and versatility. The market in modern day has a lot of ice cream varieties and flavors ranging from mint chocolate, strawberry to cheesecake and cookie dough, but nothing beats the classical taste of vanilla ice cream, which is an experience unto itself. So the vanilla plant belongs to the orchid family, and it is the only fruit-bearing plant of the entire family. A vanilla flower only lives for one day, so the seeds have to be quickly picked and dried. Because of the tedious process involved in producing a few pounds of vanilla beans, vanilla is the second most expensive spice in the world, with saffron being the first. The world has mostly Madagascar to thank for its vanilla supplies, as 75% of all vanilla comes from there. It is required by the law in the US to have all vanilla extract sourced from the true vanilla. Today is also commemorated as National Women Touched by Addiction Day in US. The most significant observations that only recently began gaining traction is National Women Touched by Addiction Day, which aims to raise awareness regarding the issues of women suffering from addiction. This social issue has touched many women across the United States that recently elicited the founding of several initiatives as well as educational and support programs. Like many social issues prevalent in the United States, the issue of women touched by addiction can be both prevented and helped. As there are many factors fueling the urgency of the issue, the National Women Touched by Addiction Day aims to raise awareness concerning the issue, put in place several programs to help improve the situation for thousands of women across the US suffering from some sort of addiction or another. Women's addiction is by far not a recent issue. For centuries, there have been scores of research studies and actual cases portraying why the way addiction affects men and women differently. In many societies, women are still vulnerable, which makes them particularly prone to fall prey to substance addiction. This, coupled with increasing mental health issues, especially among women, is what makes addiction among women worthy of attention. There are several efforts and initiatives already underway, mending hearts that succeeded in making the issue of women touched by addiction with much more documented and debate. Today is also commemorated as Peanut Butter and Chocolate Day in US. The day marks on the elite combinations that make us believe in the love at first sight. So peanut butter and chocolate have been an unstoppable force, rising the level of iconic, are delicious on their own, but even better when combined. So peanut butter and chocolate are now available in practically every imaginable combination. And there has never been a single instance in which pairing of these two resulted in a moment of culinary disappointment. Peanut butter and chocolate cupcakes, well, as peanut butter cookies with a drizzle of chocolate on top, are both delicious desserts to prepare. In terms of fruit pairings, bananas are the best. Bananas, peanut butter, and chocolate are classical combo that children enjoy. So in moderate amount, peanut butter and chocolate can be nice ally to your daily menu and can be a nice complement to your health, but it should be in a very limited quantity. And you should keep your nut butter in the pantry of refrigerator where it would be cool and dark to preserve its freshness. To avoid cross-contamination, use clean equipment to shut jar tightly to keep out of air. Combine some marshmallows and peanut butter and then melt some peanut butter onto the rice treats mixture. You will be in for an incredible tasty surprise. Today is also commemorated as Sprinkle Day in US. As the name suggests, the day indeed designed to celebrate the delight brought by an existence of sprinkles, the colorful flecks of sugar we all know and love. Sprinkles are used for many things across the world, the most common of which is topping ice cream. It is a well accepted fact that no matter the hardship, sprinkles make everyone's day just a little better. So the idea of modern sprinkles dates back to 1913 when Dutch confectionery Erwin Jong created something by the name Hagelslag. The latter was intended to used as a topping for bread and butter, of all things. Sprinkles, sprinkles began their career as an ice cream topping in 1940s. The first use of sprinkles as an ice cream topping has been traced back to Edward Brigham. He began offering rainbow sprinkles as a topping, often for ice cream cones, charging an additional penny to raise money for the Jimmy Fund. Today, sprinkles can be found all across the globe. They are called Hagelslag in the Netherlands, Jimmy's in Boston, Philadelphia, and Messi in Indonesia, and Musing Strongest mouse droppings in Belgium. Regardless, the name sprinkles have become an inseparable part of modern. So sprinkles are meant to top up food as long as they do not contain chocolate. You can even feed it to dog. Sprinkles have coating of shellac, which is something extracted from insects. So it is also a non-vegetarian kind of food or contains animal extracts. So this week is also commemorated at Shark Week from July 23rd to 30th. Heaps of American youths harmonizing a fascination with sharks and never stand still, breathless. Killer instinct they embody. But Discovery's week of programming has become traditionally fair for generation of would-be shark scientists. Engage filmers and thrill seekers. If you haven't seen yet, don't miss this Shark Week. Starting in 1988, the idea proved to be a winner, raking in winning ratings for the channel and rekindling America's love affair with the ocean predator. The peak till that point was probably the 1975 movie Jaws. Since that time, Shark Week has gained popularity, adding hosts in 1994, starring with Peter Benchley and eventually household names such as Mike Roby, Craig Ferguson, and Shaquille O'Neal. So once a great white reaches 2.5 meters, just over 8 feet long, it will only eat sea mammals, making the switch from diet of mostly small fish, so becoming picky and choosy. Somewhat counterintuitively, the great white prefers to hunt not at night, but in the broad daylight, depending upon its eyesight to properly track prey, though the sharks shut its eyes in the moment of attack. To keep their body temperatures partially by transferring heat from their moving muscles and to maintain energy levels, great whites predominantly seek prey with high fat content like seals or whales. After a gestation period of 18 months, a mother great white will give birth to 4 or 6 pups, each measuring in length between 1.2 and 1.5 meters, 4 to 5 feet. Contrary to a popular myth that has persisted for decades and resulted in large amounts of shark fin soup being consumed medicinally, there is no scientific evidence to support the claim that sharks don't get cancer. They do. So today, with this, we complete the daily commemorations. So let's look at a few monthly commemorations. So this month is also observed as Sarcoma Awareness Month. Is a type of cancer that occurs in various locations of the body and in general term used to refer to a broad group of cancers that begin in the soft tissues and bones. Soft tissue sarcoma forms the tissues that connect, support, and surround other body structures, including muscle, fat, blood vessels, nerves, tendons, and the lining of your joints. This is not only type of sarcoma, but actually more than 70 times are there. Sarcoma treatment varies depending on the type of sarcoma, location, and other factors. So this month is also commemorated as Social Wellness Month in US. Most of them are in US. So this is because social wellness is all about your capability to bond with others and build satisfying relationships. So the fact is, more people you meet, the more likely you are to develop new hobbies and embark on journeys you never imagined. So you would be part of, you will get to hear new jokes, experiment, go to new places, get involved with new activities. Most importantly, social relationships have a lasting impact on physical health. This was founded by Words of Wellness, a counseling group that understands the importance of socializing and building new bonds. In 1905, a study revealed that the physical and psychological health benefits of a social support. This discovery was made by Dr. Joseph Pratt, who had gathered a group of tuberculosis patients to educate them regarding the disease. During these support group meetings, he saw the great and impact of psychological support made on the health of those suffering from tuberculosis. So those with a social network handle stress better. Around 20% of the Americans feel isolated in their free time. Laughter, touching, and hugging can improve health. Lack of companionship can increase cholesterol levels. Love and warmth from people can increase immunoglobulin levels. So though a lot of people are introverts and prefer spending time alone, Social Wellness Month highlights why it is essential to build a social network. Believe it or not, making friends can teach you a lot and can have a positive effect on your mind, body, and soul. Social Wellness Month highlights how relationships can benefit you and help you grow. And well, several activities are held during this month to teach people how to socialize and also create more opportunities for them to meet new people. This month is also celebrated as Talk to Us Month, which is an annual awareness raising campaign observed throughout all July. So Talk to Us aims to highlight the charity's work and help it can offer. The non-profit group, the Samaritans, started the campaign Talk to Us in 2016. Their coordinated local events increase awareness that Samaritans are available at any time of the day or night to listen to anyone who is struggling. This month is also commemorated as US Safety Awareness Month, UV. So when most of us are gearing up to enjoy the warmest days outside, especially this is in West where it is summer now, picnics, outdoor spots, the pool, beach, relaxing with a drink in your hand and breeze in your hair. This is quite common in Western countries where generally it is more cooler and summer is a great joy for them. But it can damage skin and eyes caused by excessive exposure to sun's UV rays because they are not used to such temperatures most of the year. So UV Safety Awareness Month is held during summer when most of us spend more time outside making the most of the warmer weather. The longer your exposure, however, the greater your risk of sun damage if you are unprotected. The sun emits radiation in the form of ultraviolet or UV light, which is classified into three types: UVA, UVB, and UVC. The ozone layer protects the stratosphere and blocks the most damaging UVC light, but UVB and UVA light passes through it. UVC radiation can come from artificial sources, such as sun lamps or tanning beds. So the global solar UV index or UVI describes the level of solar UV radiation at the Earth's surface. The higher the index value, the greater the potential for damage to the skin and eyes. Radiation from UV light is invisible, but it is always present during the day, even when you can't see or feel the sun. These rays can be harmful to your skin and eyes, aside from wrinkles and sunburn. Exposure is also associated with the development of skin cancer. Our eyes can be affected by cataracts, cornea damage, and vision loss if unprotected in the long term. The sun is at peak between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Head indoors or under shade during these hours. If you stay longer for work or play, sunscreen with an high SPF or at least a 30 SPF, a broad-brimmed hat, sunglasses, breathable clothing that covers you can offer the most protection. UV rays can pass through clouds. They also affect of surfaces like sand, snow, cement, and water. So that's why sun protection is an important in any season all year round. This month is also commemorated as Wild About Wildlife Month in US to address challenges we face as co-inhibitors of the planet. We are surrounded by a fragile ecosystem which is under constant attack from powerful human and natural forces. It also serves as a dedication to the work and progress made in the area of wildlife preservation around the world. Every year, the leading activists share stories of successful rescues, rehabilitation, and conservation. Millions of conservation missions of wildlife. The entire month is an educational experience and calls for contributors to leading animal conservatories such as National Wildlife Federation and other national organizations. This month also celebrates the beauty and importance of our wildlife and the critical role in our ecosystem. The sweltering heat of July is perfect time to get involved in wildlife local and global conservation efforts. So it is up to us to prevent the magnificent menagerie across the planet. So this month is also a call to action. If we care about frenzied fauna and the gleeful wild animals, we need to do something now because we are officially running out of time. The 2020 World Wildlife Fund Living Planet report has concluded that the population of nearly 21,000 mammals, birds, reptiles, fishes, and amphibians have declined by an average of 68% within the last 5 decades. While the report is devastating for the future of our ecosystems, it also pushes us to urgent our actions. There are many ways to make positive contributions to our ecosystem. Actions like running a recycling initiative, hosting community fundraising events, cleaning your surroundings, supporting wildlife conservation efforts, and educating people about embracing eco-friendly products are significant steps in the fight for conservation. In the 21st century, hunting and poaching are no longer the biggest threat to wildlife conservation. Instead, it is impact of climate change that threatens to eviscerate entire ecosystems. Through the month-long observation, we get a chance to appeal to the policymakers to take action against the main contributions to the climate change and plead for policies that can limit the impact of global warming on our planet. After facing nearly extinction due to hunting in the 70s, the conservation efforts has brought back the whale numbers to their pre-70s state, but still as more vulnerable. The extinction of beavers in the UK has reversed since 2008, with a small family building a new habitation in the country. The population of Africa has increased from 48 in 2010 to over 100 in 2016, with respect to gorillas in Africa. The population of grey wolves has gone from 300 in 1960 to nearly 5,400 in 2010. And India's wild tiger population has seen a 33% increase since conservation efforts began in 2010. So this month is also commemorated as World Watercolor Month. Art has always been a medium of expressing our most intimate thoughts and emotions. Mediums like paintings, crafting, sculpting have been around for centuries to give voice to human emotions. Watercolor painting is one of the most ancient forms of art, and its popularity will not wane for a long time to come. So it is celebrated by amateurs, artists, and educators to support the art form and raise awareness and funds for the art education. It is also a big social media event. Paintbrushes are being replaced, and George Braque was the first living person to be displayed at Louvre. Edgar Degas has about 1,500 paintings featuring dancers. Warhol would seal eccentric items in a box at the end of every month and made time capsules. Paul Rubens was knighted by Philip IV, King of Spain, and Charles I, King of England. So water paintings is one of the ancient and most popular art forms. So this month celebrates the beloved medium. And it also raises about the importance of art education and how we can support schools and students who want to learn the art form. You can also donate to the schools. So encourage your children, colleagues, friends, even you can also do some watercoloring this month. So with this, we shall conclude today's commemorations and see you all tomorrow. We request everyone before leaving, kindly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls.